Right, what's up, guys? We are live with Motorsports Race Talk. Today's episode is a little bit different. I am joined by two upcoming NASCAR stars, a NASCAR pioneer, and a current tire changer and TikTok star of dad jokes. I have Lavar Scott, Regina Sirvent, Bill Lester, Cap Houston, and one of my newest co-hosts that I like to welcome to the show, Corey Huffnagel. How are you guys doing tonight?
Awesome, yeah.
I'm good.
Hi.
Great.
Yes.
All right, so the reason why I have you guys on here today is because now back in February, I had a conversation with Bill Lester on an old podcast called 2488, and my topic was NASCAR and diversity. As the year progressed, I followed more and more drivers. I followed Regina's career, Lavar's career, and a bunch of other people on the NASCAR for Diversity program. And recently on TikTok, probably about a month and a half ago, I come across some dad jokes on Instagram, and I said, "Who is this Cap Houston guy?" So I looked more and more into it, and now we got him here, and I have my friend Tori. Tori, welcome to the group.
What's up, brother? How you guys doing?
What's going on?
Not too much.
Tori has been on the show before. He is an average watcher of racing. Tori, I'd like you to meet Bill Lester, Cap Houston, Regina Sirvent, and Lavar Scott.
How you doing?
Nice to meet you guys. Nice to meet you, ma'am.
You as well.
All right. So I'm going to start with the legendary Bill Lester. All right, Bill. So recently, I think it was down in Darlington, Wendell Scott finally received his trophy. I remember you talking back in February about that. Seeing that, when you saw that, how did that make you feel, seeing that he finally got his trophy after all these years?
Oh, man. I mean, I was so elated about it. It was better late than never. I said that kind of before, but that's how I feel. You know, it was a crying shame that he didn't get his recognition back when it was time, when, you know, the situation occurred. But we all know it was a different time and place back then. But, you know, it would have been great had he been alive to receive it personally. But the family felt obviously very blessed to have gotten it, and for everybody to have seen the recognition that he deserved for such a monumental feat. So I was really pleased by it.
That's awesome. Now, I'm going to move on to the drivers. Now I'm going to start with Lavar. Lavar, at what age did you start racing, and what made you want to go through the diversity program to make your way up through NASCAR?
I started racing when I was 5 at Blackbird Speedway and I think just the reason to come here is because I seen the success I had in the past with Kyle Larson, Bubba Wallace, Daniel Suarez. So I know the program works, and it was a awesome experience to be on the same level somewhat as these guys. So, and the program is working with the guys like Roger. He's already going to the Xfinity Series next year, and hopefully me and Regina could be the next.
That's awesome. So, is there any future teams that you would love to drive for one day? Like, who was your racing idol growing up?
Definitely Jeff Gordon. Jeff Gordon was always a person I always looked at. But now it's Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson is my guy. I love to watch him on Sundays. But there's no team that I really prefer to race at. It's just any team who has a seat and I can race for them. That's what I'm. Any car, anywhere else I want to drive. So that's the plan.
Yeah. I had somebody comment on when I did the promotional poster for today's show. Somebody in the comments put that some better watch out for Lavar because he is a very good upcoming talent, and he's the one driver to watch for coming up. So yeah. I'm looking forward to see how you progress throughout the program.
Thank you,
and
man.
the same for you, Regina.
Thank you.
Hey, and if I can interject real quick, Jordan.
Go right ahead.
You know, for the two of you that are upcoming, yeah, you absolutely are indicating you're hungry, you want to be up there, but make sure that you're in a program that you can be successful in. You don't want to be running around in junk and, you know, be forgotten about. You want to make sure that you got a program that's well funded, that the people are all pulling in the same direction. It is tough out there. I'm not telling you anything you probably don't know, but it probably helps you just to hear it again. It is tough.
Yeah.
You know, it's very little that separates the competitive teams from the non-competitive teams. You just don't want to get there and say, I got there. You want to get there, kick butt, and take names.
Yes. Thank you.
That's that is great. That is some great advice that you can get from anybody.
Yes.
Tori, do you have any questions for Lavar or Regina?
If I could actually ask just one thing, I'll probably ask like, yo, where on race day is your adrenaline level?
You want to answer first, Regina?
You can go first.
I feel like it depends on the race day, and it just depends on the race day when I'm racing. Like back at home, I race my dirt micro, and I know like when I go to the race with my family, my brother, my whole family comes and watches me. So the vibe is very, very high. I'm just excited just to be with my family, with my friends at the racetrack. But when I'm like at Hickory or somewhere where I'm racing, it's way more like you got to be focused because this is my dream. I want to make it all the way to the Cup Series, so I know I got to be focused and be attentive to everything you're trying to tell me. So it just depends on the race day, on where I'm racing at the day.
Wow, that's a good question, Tori. I think, I don't know. Probably like when I'm in the track, I think that I'm very serious, like compared to how I like in the shop and stuff like that. Of course, when the race is over, if it's good, of course I'm excited and I thank all the team. But when it's bad and I have frustration, I know, for example, that if I did a mistake, if I can like I always thank my team and I always try to give the best of me to the people around me because I don't have the fault. But when I'm by myself, I like try to analyze what can I do better and keep progressing.
Okay, sweet.
Nice. And Cap, when did you now? As I was looking back on your history, now you used to work for Furniture Row Motorsports. Is that correct?
Yes. I worked for Furniture Row as well. I worked for Furniture Row, front row, cage high. I started in 2005. Came in through the diversity program, which ran out of pit instruction and training at the time. Quick little rundown of my story, how I, got in from there. I think October there was filming Talladega Nights, and we had the opportunity to be extras in that movie. So if you watch the movie and watch the bar scene, I got a little peachy shirt back there with dreadlocks shooting pool, you know what I mean? So that was my little seconds of fame right there. But the great thing about that, while I was on set, I got to meet Coach Phil Horton, who is currently the head coach at Chip Ganassi Racing. And he gave me his card at that time, but it wasn't until like maybe February when I had stopped initial training. And I ran across that card and saw that the number said Concord, which I lived in Concord. And I was like, oh, man, this is close. Because the reason why I stopped in the beginning is I had a Suburban. It was burning up a lot of gas going from work in Salisbury to Mooresville and back to Concord. And I was like, wow, I can, try to get back into it right here in town. I gave him a call and, from there, started on with the diversity the developmental program at Chip Ganassi Racing, and the rest is history. Still
hey man, claiming Talladega Nights is one of your starts is auspicious. That was not the best movie about that.
Right. It'd been different.
Like that.
If I could have said Days of Thunder, that'd been a great story. But
oh, absolutely.
Yeah. But it's still, hey, I still enjoy talking about it. A lot of people know. The new age racing movie of Talladega Nights.
Well, little known fact is that Dale Earnhardt Jr. and I flew from here in the South to the premiere of Talladega Nights in LA at like this Man's Chinese Theater, whatever it was. And we never saw Talladega Nights before it actually came out. We were both looking at each other sideways.
Like, wow, really?
We're like, wait a minute, that ain't real.
Oh, man.
Cap, when I go back to watch Talladega Nights, I'm gonna have to look for that scene. I know what scene you're talking about.
Yeah, just slow it down and pause it. Look real close.
Looking for it.
Well, since we're on the topic of Cap, you guys might want to check out this video because I find this hilarious.
Hey, Cap.
Oh, hey. The other day I took a picture on TikTok, swipe right, there was a leaf in my face.
Yeah?
It's a leaf filter.
Hey, Cap.
Oh, hey, what does Ross Chastain, the Melon Man, put on when he's having a bad hair day?
What?
Mousse.
Don't give up your day job.
Hey, that's good thing I can change tires good. Oh man.
My co-host is actually a tire changer for RBR Romaine Brothers Racing. He's actually on his way to Vegas right now, so he couldn't be here tonight. I asked him if he knew you. His name is John Vandal. Him and Austin are they both are actually one of my originals part of the show. So what is your favorite? I like to ask everybody this. What is your favorite experience that you've ever had since you've been a pit crew member for NASCAR?
As a few of them, I say just since we just came back from the Coliseum, Bristol. My first race ever was Toledo, Ohio, ARCA race there, and just to get the feel of being at the racetrack then was it was like, okay, I'm doing this, but it really didn't set in until I wasn't even going over the wall. I was running tires, got a pit support job, and when I hit Bristol, and the whole every seat was full, you couldn't hear. I mean, Bill, you'd be able to co-sign. Like now, you can have a conversation. It's still loud, but back then, early 2000s, you couldn't hear nothing in front of you. You had to write everything down. That's from the noise from the crowd and the cars. It was crazy. It was unreal, and that's the greatest experience to even be a part of that.
Yeah, I can co-sign on that. I mean, Bristol, they call it the Coliseum for a reason. If, if somebody has never been to a NASCAR race before, wanted to go to one, I would say Bristol is the place to get your baptism by fire. Because, once you go there, it's like you are hooked. Absolutely. And like Cap was saying, you can't hear the person who's speaking right into your ear for the most part.
Right into your ear.
It's so loud, it's painful.
Yeah.
Hey, Cap, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
See, the one thing I think Jordan likes about me is like I'm kind of the weird NASCAR fan. I love watching someone come from dead last to finish in the top 5. But also one of the things I love is pit row, right? And I remember like maybe 10 years ago on Spike TV, they used to show for the All-Star race. They used to show the pit crew competition on television.
Yeah.
What happened to that, man?
Well, you think things like that, especially when you do anything elaborate. They was in the Coliseum. You got to have sponsors. You got to have people. Somebody's got to pay for it. And I think initially, it just whoever writes the script, on those things, whatever comes across their desk and however they put it together. Like it's a lot of work to put something like that together, right? And then they start going from. Like you get a lot of prize money, so then the teams will get more involved in what who gets what. At first, it was an opportunity for pit crew guys to go get something to finally shine a little bit, and then it's gone. Like I don't really have the real answers to it. Those are just my thoughts on it.
All right, that's cool. Thank you for answering the question.
Yeah.
Corey, do you have any questions for Lavar, Regina, or Cap or Bill?
So I have one for Bill, and so I'm looking at your results standings for the Truck Series. So you have 143 starts, 2 top 5s, and 7 top 10s. So the one thing I want to point out, so the last time you ran the Truck Series was 2007. So fast forward to March of this year when you ran for David Gilliland Racing at Atlanta. So you started 31st and finished in 36th. So my question to you is so what did it feel like, racing in the Truck Series for like the first time in like a number of years, and the fact of the matter is, and I also tell this to everybody, when I first got into NASCAR and also all the series is, the Truck Series at the time, there was a lot of veteran guys that came in, that usually like finished out their career. And now, you have guys that are like 16 and under, and actually, 27 and under and so forth. So actually my question to you is so how did it feel, driving in the Truck Series for like the first time in a couple of years?
All right, man, that was a whole lot to unpack, but the fact of the matter is that you're absolutely right. I came back after not having driven for 14 years in a NASCAR vehicle to jump in during, COVID protocol into a truck. And so when I'm talking about COVID protocol, as probably everybody knows, there was no practice, there was no qualifying. It's strap up, drop the green flag, and 180 miles an hour in turn 1 at Atlanta Motor Speedway. So, I mean, I couldn't have come up with a more challenging scenario than that. You also have to keep in mind that I have no experience with David Gilliland racing, and unfortunately, it worked out. Well, it was a blessing and a curse. It was a blessing because I was able to get behind the wheel. I wasn't, afraid or nervous. I didn't know what to expect, right? Because sitting on the couch is a whole lot different than actually doing it. So I brought it back in, under its power. I saw the green and the checkered flag, but it wasn't on a hook or anything like that. No. But the truck was not set up to my liking whatsoever. And we had only a number of limited opportunities to correct it. It was way too loose. I kept asking for them to tighten it up. And I needed tightening on a scale of 1 to 10. I needed 8s to 10s. They're giving me 1s and 2s, right? So, I mean, it was ridiculous. I didn't want to even turn left because I was immediately turning right and going to the corner sideways. That place is way too fast to be going sideways through swatting bees. But it was as a result of the fact that the reason I came back is because I wrote a motivational memoir called Winning in Reverse earlier this year. I released it in February about what it took for me to be successful. And what I mean by successful, for me to live my dreams, right? To become a professional race car driver. When I was very young, I didn't get that chance to race, right? But my parents exposed me to racing. My father took me to a race when I was 8 years old, and that set the hook. So I knew I wanted to be one. But we didn't have the ways and means, the access or anything like that to pursue racing. So I went through, a whole different career. I have an electrical engineering, computer science degree from Cal Berkeley, 15 years in the high-tech sector, Hewlett-Packard. And then at 37 years of age, I left that to try to become a full-time professional race car driver with my wife's blessing. I got married at the time. And so at 40, I became at the time, Craftsman truck, now, of course, Camping World Truck Series rookie. At 40, something that'll never happen again, probably, right? Right. Without bringing a checkbook. I didn't bring a checkbook. I brought my helmet. I came in through Dodge's diversity program. And so it was all a matter of being talent based. And so I got to race with Bobby Hamilton back in 2002 was my first year. And so I enjoyed it. It was I thought a very good career for somebody who didn't come from circle track racing, never been on dirt. I grew up as a sports car road racer. So I turned right, I turned left. I just didn't turn in a circle. I didn't drop it in fourth gear and turn left. So NASCAR racing was so far removed from what I thought I was going to do. When I first got a chance to race professionally, I thought I would be in an IndyCar. I thought I would be at the Rolex 24 Hours of Daytona or 24 Hours of Le Mans. I never thought I would be in NASCAR because, here I'm showing my age. When I saw NASCAR as a kid, it was on ABC's Wide World of Sports. Yep. And what they showed was the Southern 500, the Talladega 500, and all I saw were a bunch of rebel flags blowing in the breeze with a whole bunch of guys that did not look like me or sound like me. I mean, when they were done in the race and they were being interviewed by the interviewer, they were like, "Okay, so what was wrong with your truck?" And well, my tires were bad, and couldn't turn it. And all. I'm like, "Huh, what?" So it was a very different scenario than what I was used to experiencing, right? So I had no ambition or desire to race in NASCAR. So lo and behold, the fact that I did that is really an anomaly. But anyway, getting back to what you were saying, the technology has evolved substantially from when I was racing in 2007 to now. And what I mean by that is the engines have changed. The aerodynamics are really improved, but the engines have actually taken a step back. Back when all the manufacturers were racing each other and we had engines that were turning 9,000 RPM, these things are droning at 7,000 RPM red line. It's like, oh, wow. Where is the power in these things? It's all momentum, right? All momentum. If you get out of the loud pedal, it takes you a lap to get it back, right? And I just didn't realize that before. You get out of it, breathe it, get back into it, and the power is right there. Now, if you're not handling right, you're finished. And so that's what I learned the hard way by not getting a chance to practice or qualify, but just go out there and drop it into turn one at speed and see what, either sink or swim. And so it was great that I got to do it. Again, one of the things that was a key to my success is getting out of your comfort zone. And so I practiced what I preach. I got out of my comfort zone after not having raced for 14 years in the NASCAR vehicle. I jumped back behind the wheel of one without any practice qualifying or anything like that and was able to run. It wasn't as good as I wanted to do it, but like I said, I didn't come back on the hook either.
A good question. So my second question is, so I know that Dale Jr. usually does like a one-off every year, in the Xfinity series. So he just did a one-off, I think, last weekend at Richmond. So is there ever have you ever thought about, like, do you ever want to do like a one-off in like NASCAR, whether if it's in the Truck Series or Xfinity Series, and if so, what track would you want to do, like, as like a one-off?
Well, I just came back for that one race, kind of just to prove a point to myself, and like I said, practice what I preach by getting out of your comfort zone. I really don't have that much ambition to come back and do a one-off each year. But I chose Atlanta Motor Speedway for two reasons. One, it's my hometown, and two, I've always liked the fast tracks, right? So Atlanta, Talladega, Daytona, but the Talladega and Daytona are drafting tracks. Atlanta is just, cinch up that, that sub belt, right? So I enjoy coming back there. Those are tracks that I like, but I really don't have much of a desire to do it on a one-off like Dale does. Dale has the significant advantage that he can go out whenever he wants to and test with, his teams, or get in whatever, the Chevy simulator, whatever he wants to. He's got resources and access that I don't have. Here I am basically sitting on the couch, and I just jump into a car, into a truck, thinking that it's going to be like it was when it was before. And truly, it was not like it was before. So, I also believe that in this day and age, it's really a young man or woman sport. I'm going to date myself here. I'm 60 years old. And so even though I don't, act like it, I'm no spring chicken right now. So for me to be going up against these guys that are fearless, and when I mean fearless, they'll go in there 3-4 wide, and it's like no consequences whatsoever. They don't care about getting hurt. They don't care about, wrinkling them up, because they're all come from money. I don't come from money, right? These guys come from trust funds and all that kind of stuff. And, parents that are CMOs and vice presidents of marketing, all that kind of stuff. It's a whole different deal now than it was back in the day when you did it strictly on merit.
Right. That is true. Speaking of Atlanta, so what do you think about Atlanta's new configuration next year?
Yeah, I hear it. With the progressive banking and all that kind of stuff, or isn't that what they're doing?
Yeah, because I think now they're going to be going from like 24 degrees of banking to 28 degrees of banking. So a lot of people are saying, it's going to be kind of like a mini Daytona almost. So for me, I kind of thought, okay, I'm kind of thinking, all right, maybe this could be a quite possibility for all the other mile-and-a-half racetracks. But then yet again, we'll just have to see how Atlanta plays out, next year. And quite honestly, I think it's going to be fast, and a lot of guys that I think are probably going to use the high line, mostly. But honestly, I'm definitely interested to see how that race is going to play out. And who knows, we may have a lot of passes for the lead, in my opinion.
Yeah, it may be good. We'll just have to see. But, the things that I've heard about it is that it's going to be a lot of people say that it's going to be a wreck fest, because they say it's going to be kind of like Talladega, Daytona. Everybody is just completely wide open, the whole time. And that's what Talladega and Daytona are. I mean, the only time you ever lift is coming down pit road. I mean, otherwise you're just covering the brake. But they say Atlanta is going to effectively be similar to that, but in a much more contained, mile-and-a-half configuration, as opposed to 2.5 or 2.66, which is Talladega.
Yeah.
So, I guess the jury is out on it, but I like the old configuration. It had a lot of character. I understand the track and concrete was breaking up and they had to do something, but make it as steep in the banking as they made it, I think is going to cause some, concern and confusion. But, I think as quietly as it's kept, I think a lot of the brass back down there in Daytona Beach want to see a whole lot of carnage, because typically that's what keeps butts in seats.
Yes, that is true. And we all saw what happened at Daytona a couple of weeks ago when, we had a lot of the big wrecks like right at the end. And of course, we did have that big wreck on the final lap. And it was actually kind of interesting, because I looked at most of the top 10, and they were pretty much guys that, that you never see, like, up at the front. Like, I'm talking like, BJ McLeod and Josh Bilicki, and heck, I mean, I was watching the race, and of course, Corey LaJoie driving the 7 car for Spire Motorsports was leading not leading most of the race, but he was up in the top 10 most of the night. And I kind of thought to myself, is this going to be the first time, we see Aspire Motorsports in victory lane? Actually, second time Aspire Motorsports car in victory lane, because the first one was back in 2019 with Justin Haley and so forth. But I just look at this season, and not only that, I'm really interested to see what's going to happen next year as well. And I don't know if you guys all know, but, we have the Clash next year going to the LA Coliseum, and I just want to hear what your take is on that. Like, do you think this is a good move, or is this kind of like a wait and see kind of moment?
Oh, Hey, Corey, real quick.
Wait and see.
Yeah. Because if you think about it, you have like a quarter-mile racetrack inside the football stadium. So for me, I'm kind of thinking, part of me is excited, but the second part, I'm kind of questioning like how this is all going to play out.
Yeah, man. I mean, LA Coliseum is pretty big, but wow.
Yeah.
Well, I think all you got to do is take a look at what happens at Bowman Gray, right? I mean, It's just, it's usually a race breaks out during a fight. That's kind of what I think it's going to be like. I just think it's going to be, everybody on top of each other, and it's just going to be rooting and gouging. And, Rubbin's racing, I understand that, but I just think it's going to be a little bit chaotic. But, again, we'll just have to wait and see. That's why they run the race, because we can't predict the outcome.
Yeah. I think each year, I think they've seen, whether it be NASCAR or whether it be the networks, they've seen that each year when they do something out of the ordinary to a racetrack, bringing the dirt to Bristol, doing the Roval, starting at Charlotte, and then, the Daytona road course, Indy road course, I mean, I'm thinking one of these years I don't think they can do it, but one of these years they may be like, let's go back to the beach at Daytona. Let's see what that does.
Why not?
I promise you somebody will bring it up, but I don't think they can do that. But yeah, I kind of like it. I kind of like it that it brings up the conversation. Do you think it'll work? What are they going to do? How are they going to make it? Once you do that, then you bring interest to that event, right? So I think they're going to get I think the networks are going to get what they want out of it. They're going to get the viewership they're looking for, and I don't know how the racing is going. That's what we want to know, because we're from the inside, looking at it, and we're wondering, how is the racing? We want to see some good racing. Is this going to promote side-by-side racing, new winners, new stars, show a different style of racing maybe? But it'll be interesting.
Yeah, and basically like this year, we just let's try something new, because we've added like probably a few new racetracks on the schedule this year. I mean, heck, we raced at Coda for the very first time.
Yeah.
And honestly, Coda's a very beautiful road course. I mean, the truck race I thought was good. The Xfinity race I thought was good too. And then, you had
the rain really pretty much messed it up.
Where it was pretty much the rain out and all that. And honestly, like at first I kind of said, all right, let's see how these guys do racing in the rain, Cup Series, whatever. And then, of course, you had some of the guys that were complaining that they couldn't see. And then you had some of the big wrecks where, they couldn't slow down because, the hydroplaning and whatnot. And then that's when everyone said, okay, now this is starting to get dangerous. And to me, I'm glad that, they stopped the race and they called it. But then part of me said, you know what, I think Coda deserves a second chance, and I'm glad they put it back on the schedule. But the only thing is now they moved it from May to March. So I'm thinking, all right, hopefully the weather in March is pretty good down in Texas. I don't know, but
still Texas.
So you're pretty much saying it's a washout?
No, in the South, brother, March is like, storm month. No, it's not happening. I'm sorry. It's a possibility. Anything's possible, but there's a roll of the dice on that. But for you guys, as you were talking about the tracks and everything and all the changes, I was just sitting there thinking to myself, like, oh wow, so we're literally watching the evolution of NASCAR and motorsports, period, right? So my question to Lavar, Regina, and Cap, and you too, Mr. Lester, is this right here. What with a year or so ago with NASCAR, banning the rebel flag, what do you think will be the next major evolutionary step in NASCAR? Whether it deals with person, car, personnel, it doesn't matter.
I think the next big step for NASCAR is just to make the competition more even throughout the field, because you have guys who are winning the truck series and then come to a bad team in a cup series and look like they're a terrible driver, but really they're not a terrible driver. They don't have the car to compete with the cars like Hendrick or Penske. So I think it's just making the cars more even throughout the field will be a lot more competition. I think that'll be a lot more viewership for the fans. So I feel like it's kind of getting more like F1. Like F1 is just, when you tune into F1 race, you're going to see Lewis Hamilton or Verstappen, them cars on top. And nowadays you're going to see Kyle Larson, Kyle Busch, those top drivers on top. So I think it'd be cool to see the drivers in the back get a chance to compete with the drivers in the front.
All right, and your host is back. Sorry for the interruption, but I had internet issues.
All good.
Me and Corey held it down for you, brother.
Thank you, guys. I had internet issues. I'll go back to what y'all was talking about later. All right, Regina, you can go ahead and talk. I am so sorry.
No, you're fine, Jordan. I'm glad you're back. And I agree with you, Lavar, but do you think it will be easy? I think it's more about budgets because the bigger teams have more sponsorship. And I feel like if every team got more sponsorship, like every team would be like next year the same. But that would be very hard to do.
Yeah.
Very hard. And Bill, I was wondering if I can ask you a question.
Sure.
How did you deal with all the frustration, like in racing? Like, I don't know if at the beginning it was very hard, and you were like, it doesn't matter. You said that at the beginning you were racing road course, and then suddenly you were in ovals. So, how did you deal with all that frustration? Like, what did you think? What did you do to keep moving forward?
Yeah. So, like I said, I had no experience running ovals before coming to NASCAR. I mean, none. I mean, I was running road courses, 14, 18 turn, 3.5 mile tracks, undulations up and down, left and right, as opposed to running around in a circle, right? So I was very frustrated coming in because I had to try to make up so much ground on my competition. The truck series is not a starter series. It's one of the, big 3 national touring series, right? Mm-hmm. I didn't even have a chance to do legends or late models or bandoleros or, K&N or any of that stuff. Dropped right into the truck series, right? Against guys that have been doing this for a long time, like Mike Skinner and Todd Bodine. And the list goes on, right? So it was very difficult. And so my learning curve was exponential. And I just tried to, realize that this is what I asked for. This is what I asked for. It's up to me to catch up, to suck it up, to learn as much as I can, to realize that a bad day on the racetrack beats the greatest day in the office. Hands down, bar none, right? So I kept it in perspective, but I'm so competitive that there were some very, very difficult times, especially in the light of the fact that I come from Northern California, from the Bay Area, from San Jose initially, and then left Oakland to come to, and that's Oakland, California, to come to Atlanta. And so even coming to Atlanta is not the hotbed and the mecca of NASCAR. NASCAR's North Carolina, whether it be Charlotte, Mooresville, whatever the case is, right? But North Carolina. But when my wife and I moved in 2000, we took a look at North Carolina and we said, oh, heck no. When you talk about, two city folks, my wife was born and raised in San Francisco, big city girl. And I was a big city guy. And so when we came out and looked at North Carolina and we just saw all this acreage of, land and, roads as opposed to streets and all that, we were like, oh, I just couldn't do it. And she was like, looked at me like, you must be crazy. You think I'm gonna live out here. So we chose the biggest metropolitan area we could in the Deep South, which was Atlanta, Georgia. But that makes me still remote from what's going on at my team, whether it be Bobby Hamilton Racing or whether it been Bill Davis Racing when I raced for Toyota. Everything was based there. So I really never had the relationships that I needed to have to really be successful. And that's another thing I talk about in my book, the power of networking. I talked about getting out of your comfort zone. I'm now talking about the power of networking and relationships. I didn't have those because I came from you might as well consider I came from Mars. Because when I came into NASCAR, it was like, we talked about Days of Thunder, where Tom Cruise came into the arena on a motorcycle from open wheel IndyCar, and everybody's like, who is this guy? Well, that's how they looked at me, because I had no history. I had no record. People were like, who is this guy? Why is he here? And so I didn't really get a chance to forge those, deep relationships with, other competitors that could accelerate my learning curve. So I was learning through the school of hard knocks, but I did all I could with, the resources and the opportunities that were provided to me, because at the end of the day, I wanted to race with the best of the best. And if you have that drive, if you have that passion, you'll get there. How many 45-year-old rookies start out in the Cup Series? That's when I got my Cup break at 45 years of age. Everybody's packing it in. They're gone by 45. I'm just showing up. It's kind of like Jimmy Johnson on the IndyCar circuit, just showing up at 45 as IndyCar rookie. I think he broke the mold there. I'm pretty sure I broke the mold on the NASCAR side.
Okay.
Hey, Corey, Tori, thank you guys so much for holding the fort down while I had internet issues. I really wanted to hear what Bill was saying, so what I'm going to do is, like, at the end of the show, I'm going to go back and re-listen to that. Regina, I want to get to you. So I was scrolling through Instagram the other day, and I came across this picture, and I think it's one of the coolest things.
Nice.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Now, Daniel Ricciardo has to be one of my favorite F1 guys. Regina, what was it like meeting Daniel Ricciardo?
I really like to meet Daniel Ricciardo. Definitely, he's one of my favorite drivers because I like his attitude, like his smile. He has always a smile for everyone. But if I'm being honest, my favorite driver is Hamilton. So I remember that I was very excited when I met Daniel, but when I met Hamilton, I was shaking. I was so nervous. I remember, like, English is not my my first language, so I forgot all my English when I met him. I was like, "Hey, my name is Regina." I was so nervous, but definitely he's one of the coolest drivers. I feel like something that I will always remember is that he told me that the secret for being so successful in anything you want to do is trusting yourself, because sometimes you put yourself limits when, like, there is no limit. It's just on your head. So I think that that's like one of the best advices I have received.
Okay. What is your going through the journey through the diversity program, what has been your favorite part of the journey so far?
My favorite part of the diversity, I feel like being able, for example, a couple weeks ago, I had a good chat with Despierta America. That's a TV show that is like Good Morning America, but in Latin. And I really enjoy being able to talk about my experience, about how I did to change from NASCAR Mexico to the NASCAR Drive for Diversity Youth Program, and then now that I'm in the Drive for Diversity in the NASCAR Weekly Auto Parts Series. And I was able to talk with a lot of little girls and talk about my experience. Also, I think I have learned so much with the diversity. For example, Lavar and me go every single day to the shop, and something that I didn't do back home was like learn a lot about the car. And here with the diversity, they take the time to show me, like, hey, so we do this and we were moving this because of this. And I feel like I have been learning so much about my car. We have a driver development, well, a coach driver development, and we go through all the race and say, like, hey, you should have done this and this and this. So I feel like the diversity has helped me a lot. And also, I feel like it was very hard. I would never be racing in the United States without the diversity program. So I feel like it was my first step to go through my, like, the path I want, that is racing in the Cup Series one day.
Okay, and I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Lavar. Is there any specific team you wish to drive for, or do you just want to go out there and just burn some rubber and try and win some races?
Oh, I would definitely like to race for Hendrick or Pinsky or Joe Gibbs, because they are top teams. I think, like, I can learn a lot with them, and like Lavar said earlier, like, it is hard to be, if you're not in those teams, it is hard to give a good result. But of course, any team would be good.
Okay. And so are both you and Lavar teammates with Rev Racing, or do you guys race different cars, or do you guys pretty much race like the same weekend?
Yeah.
Sometimes we race the same weekend, sometimes we don't. So we are 4 drivers right now in the late model program. We are it's Lavar, Raja, Isabella, and me. And sometimes they take Isabella and me, or Lavar and me, and I. Well, they take 2 drivers. I think now our next race will be 3 drivers, so I'm very excited about that.
Okay. Now, Lavar, I want to say congratulations on that win that I heard about most recently.
Thank you.
How did that feel? I actually had seeing you win. What was that anticipate? How did that feel winning your very first ever race as a race car driver, being so young? How did that make you feel?
Well, that win right there, that was just showed. That was actually a few months ago. That was Regina. That was Regina's team in Mexico, and she invited me to come race the truck, which was an awesome opportunity to do. I'm very grateful that she gave me a chance to do that. But it was my second race in Mexico, and it was at Querétaro. And before that race, we walked the track. Me, Regina, and one of the guys in Mexico walked the track. They just showed me the line because last year Regina was very fast there, and she almost won there. So she gave me a lot of tips. She showed me the fast line around the place, and next day we got it done. It was very cool, and I'll love to be back there soon.
That's pretty awesome. So, and then Regina, this one right here. Do you mind telling us what race this was, and was this your first win?
Well, actually, that was my second win last year. It was in Querétaro too, and I remember I just like screaming the radio. I think I didn't say anything, but I was just so excited. I remember that I was in shock when when I crossed the checkered flag. I was very, 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 very happy with all the team. Very happy. Because I feel like we worked so hard on it. Like we had some bad races. So after that, like being able to like go, forget all of that bad racing and focus again was very, very, very motivating for me. So very happy about that. Of course, we want to get some wins in the late model. So we are focused on that, and let's keep working.
Okay, so how many races do you both have left this year?
I think we just have one race left. It could either be the Florence 250 or the Florence 400.
Okay.
And they're weeks apart from each other. You're fine.
Okay.
You're good.
And Cap, I know you used to pit for Jamie McMurray, and is that correct?
Yes.
Now, was you on the Daytona 500 winning team?
No, I wasn't. I was at that time I was pitting for Kurt Busch when he was at the 78. The front row.
All right.
Okay. Corey, Tori, you guys have any questions for Regina or Lavar?
Well, actually, I've done you a favor. I don't have the computer set up and all that good stuff. I was playing my Assassin's Creed, and I actually found the actual time on the Talladega Nights where he is. The actual time frame is, give me 1 second, 23 minutes and 16 seconds.
I didn't even know that.
Oh man.
Yeah, I was sitting here like, is it on Netflix? Is it on Netflix? But yeah, question. Well, I think you guys probably not so much as answered what would be the one thing you look forward to the most. Damn. Wow.
Hey, Tori, while you're thinking about it, for you guys, I got to go, but I've enjoyed this. And if there's no further questions, I'm going to duck out. But you guys carry on. It's been a pleasure. And to you young drivers, I wish you much success and look forward to seeing you at the track one day. Same with you, Cap.
Thank you, Bill. Thanks for joining us, Bill.
You guys take care.
Nice
to meet you, Bill.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye, sir. All right. Which race do you guys want to win the most?
I think for me, for dirt is definitely the Chili Bowl. It's a race in Tulsa, Oklahoma during December, January. That's a race since I've been young. The top guys have been winning that race. So just to put my name on the books, say I won that race would just be the world to me, honestly. But for asphalt, it's definitely the Daytona 500 one day.
Okay.
Now, go ahead, Regina. I'm sorry.
Sorry, no, you're good. I feel well in the late model. I would like to win the Snowball Derby, but
Fun race.
I would
Smart.
like
Pit side. That's fun.
I would love to race and win in Texas Motor Speedway because I just love that track. Of course, I feel like I have watched so many races in Charlotte that I feel like I want to win one there, and like it's legendary to win the Daytona 500. So those three.
No, I can see it. Like I can see it. Like I can see many years down the road. I can see Regina coming up, working her way up through the system. Lavar working his way up to the system. Maybe you never know. Maybe we see these two go neck and neck at the Daytona 500 one day down the road.
I'm sorry, but if it comes down to it, I have to give her a right rear.
Oh.
Damn. But if you're on the right rear, it's because you're going to be behind. I'm sorry.
Behind it. Oh, there it is.
Oh, there we go.
She always says she doesn't speak very well English, but she always has the fastest comebacks.
Hey, that is the best part about being teammates and racing and all that good stuff.
Hilarious. I'm sorry.
Man, that just threw me off for a minute.
Hey, yo, real quick then, who's the best ribber? Every team has a ribber.
Like cook ribs?
No. Full of jokes, pranks.
I'm the one that initiates it. Like I would say something to Regina, she would come back with something way better than at me, like 5 seconds. But it takes 5 seconds because she has to translate it from Spanish to English, and she just says it. It's a lot better than my joke.
I got you, brother. I got you.
Lavar is very funny.
We got Cap over here who does the dad jokes. I tell you what, like some of his dad jokes are they're hilarious. I know Parker, he tried to get Parker Klingerman, but Parker Klingerman got him right back.
Oh yeah. It's just fun, man. I like to put smiles on people's faces and just have fun being out there at the track and just I only do that. I do other content that I put up or just behind the scenes from the pit side. A lot of people want to know how we pair up our tires and glue up tires, and I show pit stops and different things like that. And a lot of people actually they don't really show a lot of that. Just like Tori was saying, they took away the pit crew challenge, and you'd be surprised how many people really love that really wanted that action in the pit crew side, the competitiveness, really wanted to see that.
Cap, I don't mean to interrupt. How do you guys do that? Like seriously, like I'm watching and I swear you guys might pump down on the jack maybe one time and the fucking car is up. Like
a lot of it's set up so the jack is made for one pump. You got to be over 200 pounds to be able to get it up to put that weight on. But it's one pump for the jack. The guns are high RPMs. They probably run 1,100 RPMs, and they 0.8 I can get 5 lugs off, and on is a little slower, so it's like right at 1 second, 0.9 1 second. Then the guys they got the tires taped up and they are indexing. They're putting the tires on in 0.5 minimum and 0.9. So you add all those points up, and then the times it takes us longer to run around, and it actually takes us longer to think about the stop than it does to do it. So once the stop is over, you can go over all this stuff and talk about it. But 12 seconds is you're going to finish up a good stop with a 12.5. It's going to be a real good stop now, which is going to change a little bit next year with a one lug.
That's going to be interesting. That's going to be interesting. Yeah, Tori, NASCAR has the Cup Series has a brand new car. It's called the next gen car. Next gen. Yeah. And it has one lug nut. It has one lug nut like IndyCar, F1. It has one lug nut. One lug nut. Okay. But the Xfinity and Truck Series and ARCA, they still have the 5 on 5 off. It's just gonna be 1 on 1 off. So that's gonna be it's gonna be faster. It's gonna be cool. So I'm looking forward to seeing how interesting that's going to be.
With the tire exchange, and you getting first the inside thoughts about it. So the tire exchange, yes, is going to be quicker, but they're making the fuel cells bigger, so the fuel cells in the next gen is going from 18 to 20 gallons.
Okay.
Right. So it's going to take longer to fill it up. So it doesn't matter how fast you change your tires. You need that fuel to go. The crew chief is going to want that car full for that full run.
I got you.
Okay.
Man, do you realize when you you take 5 lugs off faster than some people light cigarettes?
Yes. Yeah. It's hard to wrap your head around.
Bro, you guys do things that not everybody can do, and I applaud you guys, Cap, Regina, and Lavar. Not everybody can do what you guys do. Like, that's amazing.
You know, and
thank you.
Cap had mentioned that he posts about pit stops. I actually have a video that was posted from his TikTok over the weekend at Bristol. He was pitting Austin Hill's 61 truck, if I'm correct.
Mm-hmm.
And here's that quick video. He beat the other guy done.
That's insane, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, those are fun. Trucks are fun. I love pitting trucks.
Question for Lavar and Regina, real quick. Do you guys have? Because I think they hand you guys something to drink when they're doing the pit work. Do you guys actually finish your refreshment?
So
in the late model, we don't have a pit stop, but when we race in Mexico, we do have a pit stop. And yeah, well, I feel like I just like throw it through my helmet, and I never really put it in my mouth. But we have another thing, like a little bottle of water here. But by the end of the race, instead of being water, it is like soup, because it's so hot that like you drink it and you feel like it feels like if you were drinking from the shower.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Regina said, for late models, we only have like either twin 40s, which is 240 lap races, or I had twin 60s once and a 100 lapper, but we don't have no pit stops, so there's no time to drink. And I did pit stops in Mexico, and during those pit stops, it's like I'm so focused on just trying to get back on the track. I'm not worried about drinking something or just want to go.
Okay.
And I feel like when you have like, for example, in the pictures in Mexico, you have like 5 minutes to change tires, put some gas and everything. But for example, in the trucks, you're trying to change tires as fast as you can, so you can just go and take off. So you don't really even have time to take a bottle of water and not even splash it in your head.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Hey, Cap, are you practicing in the new gen now or not? In the next gen now, or
we are. We have hubs and we have little setups, but we just have parts off of like a rally car. We don't have the real setup. NASCAR is just releasing parts of next gen car a little bit at a time. So we get an opportunity to use like Indy stuff. We don't have what we would have, but just to get a feel of the one lug and pulling the tires off, we started a little work on that. But the real work will go in after Phoenix once the season's over.
Okay, so you guys are using IndyCar style guns right now? Yeah.
Which is going to be similar, but it's not. It's not the same. I think our NASCAR still is going to be a little bigger. Those wheels.
Okay, yeah, because I've been watching the progress of the new car. Honestly, I like the new car. It's safer. It's nicer. I'm trying to see now when they go to the LA Coliseum in February. I'm not sure. February 6th, which, by the way, Season 2 of Motorsports Race Talk premieres February 1st. I'm looking to see if they're going to bring the old car or the new car to the LA Coliseum for the Clash.
Yeah, I think everything. I think, I don't know, but it'll be interesting. But I feel like everything would have to be new car just for what it's going to take to set up. because the new car is going to change a lot of things within the shop as far as building these cars. So you can't have a part-time crew just building old cars and just waiting for, whether or not the old car is going to come in for these particular races. So I mean, that's just my thoughts. I don't know. Anything can happen, right?
Yeah, I think that's pretty official. Like once the new season comes and we go into the next gen car, I think the cars that we race now they're going to be outdated for indefinite.
Yeah.
See, and it comes to that because I know the ARCA series uses old Cup cars. So now it's like, what is ARCA going to do down the road? Are they going to use the next gen car, or are they going to use the Gen 6 car? So that's what makes you wonder, like, what car are they going to use?
Well, they can still use the old Xfinity cars. There's still going to be cars out there for for this. Well, and plus NASCAR owns ARCA now, so they'll have access.
So what type of cars do you guys race down in Mexico, Regina?
Oh, so we have NASCAR Mexico. When we race, the trucks have almost 200 horsepower, and they are V6. And like NASCAR Peak Mexico is like a late model. It has around 450 horsepower, and they're V8. And like I feel like we cannot have bigger engines or bigger cars because our tracks are a little shorter. We don't really have as long tracks as we have here, and also like the safety, like how do I say it? Like this, like if you go to Charlotte, like the walls are like super thick, and they have like this foam so they can absorb the impact. In Mexico, we don't have that, so that's why we use a little slower cars. But a big difference between like tracks in Mexico and tracks in the United States is that tracks in Mexico doesn't have grip. Like it's very hard to find grip in Mexico. For example, I remember Lavar's first race. He was like, "Yeah, I'm rolling the outside." I was like, "No, it's not a good idea." He was like, "Yeah, it is a good idea." And he was like, "No, it was not a good idea."
You can get up there in the marbles, did you, Lavar?
I did a few times actually. I did. I almost ended my whole weekend in practice.
Oh wow!
I probably would have cried if that had happened. And Regina walked up to me and said, "Told you so." Done.
There you go.
See, that's what I used to tell the local guys. There used to be a local track near me called Columbus Motor Speedway. I used to go there all the time, and there was this one guy that raced there. He was like, "I'm going to take the high side." I was like, "You take the high side, you're going to get loose." I said, "Do not take the high side." He takes the high side. He ends up coming out of turn 4, slamming into turn 1. And I said, "I told you not to go high because turn 4 was slippery when you go. So you have to go low going into turn 4." He went high, and it kind of shook him a little bit. And I was like, "You know what?" I was like, "I'm not even going to tell these people what to do anymore. If they're just going to do what they want to do, then go right ahead." And this was in a qualifying. He could have had a pole position. Instead, he ends up starting 15th.
Yeah.
You gotta learn the hard way. Some people learn the hard way.
That is true. That's how I was when I raced the go-karts. I learned the hard way. You gotta let off the accelerator going into the turn. If not, you're gonna smack the wall. I smacked turn 4 coming out of the turn on a go-kart going about 40 miles per hour. It hurt. I'm not gonna lie. It hurt.
Yeah. Sounds like it hurt me. That's could have been a bad experience.
Oh yeah, but it's all right. Hey, we all learn from our experiences, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
That is true.
Sorry, since when do you like NASCAR?
Wait a minute, excuse me?
Since when do you like NASCAR? Like, how did your passion started?
Man, I started watching NASCAR, honestly, like 95. A friend of mine, he had this, what was it called? He had this NASCAR game, right? For the PlayStation 1. And I was like, it looks cool, and I started playing it, and I was like, yo, I tried to use, because the only person at the time I knew was Jeff Gordon. So I was like, his car don't fit my style, right? Because like my favorite color is black. So he was like, dude, there's a guy named Dale Earnhardt. He drives number 3. They call him the Intimidator. And I was like, why they call him that? His car's all black, Tori. I was like, let me check him out. So I started playing with him. Then I did a little research, and then I started watching. And like my friends didn't believe how much I liked the guy until that fucked up day at Daytona. And I didn't even watch it. A friend of mine told me, and like I automatically threw up. I mean, I just kept throwing up. And they was like, damn, you okay? I was like, you just don't get it, dude. But the thing about it, like I was saying earlier, I love it is because it's not about just going in circles or on a racetrack or whatever. It's about starting from the back and making it all the way to the top 10 or the top 5 or just winning. That is fascinating because a lot of people can't even drive at 50 miles an hour. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I guess it's the strategy, man. I don't look at all the other stuff, but it's just that's just cool. Bro. That's what I like about it. And I've been watching it ever since. Whenever I get a chance, and I'm not at work, that is.
So,
but yeah,
Dale was your favorite driver, and now nowadays, who's your favorite driver?
Jimmy Johnson when he was with NASCAR. Like when he retired, I honestly thought that was it. And then like a couple of months ago when I was a guest here on Motorsports Talk, Jordan told me, because I was like, I watched the commercial. I was like, yo, Jimmy Johnson's doing these damn commercials. He's like, yeah, man. He's driving again. I was like, what? I was like, wait, what? But honestly, right now, I don't have a favorite like that. I'm just enjoying watching people win, watching the expression of people when they actually make it to victory row. I'm just a Southern kid, dude. That people don't believe I'm a Southern boy, but hey, I love what I would love, man. But I don't know right now. I don't know about anybody right now.
So
maybe you two guys. Maybe you two guys.
Just say Kyle Larson.
Kyle Larson.
Lavar doesn't talk about anything else but Kyle Larson. Like you're in the shop, and like we have this. Like Kyle was part of the program, so we have like pictures of him, and he's like, no, my car needs to be right behind, like under the picture of Kyle Larson. The other, he won a couple of weeks ago, and he was like, my trophy needs to be next to Kyle's, like Kyle Larson.
I just don't think nobody has ever done or is doing what he is doing across the racing tracks.
He has almost 100 dirt wins since dating back to last summer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you just look at what Larson's doing right now in the Cup Series. 6 wins. I mean, the fact that he's racing for a really top team right now, it's just really impressive and so forth. But I want to go. I actually want to go to Regina for a minute. So I don't know if you ever follow Daniel Suarez. So he drives the 99 car for Trackhouse Racing, and I got to tell you, my favorite Daniel Suarez moment this year had to be the Bristol Dirt Race back in April. And this is kind of funny. So for somebody, who's from Monterrey, Mexico, that's driven on dirt for like the very first time, and the fact that he was leading like 58 laps, I was watching that race that day, and I'm going to myself, is this kid really going to win this race? The fact that he had like literally zero experience on dirt, I was like literally surprised. And what was actually kind of funny was that he actually said on the radio, he said, I don't really know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But the fact that he finished in 4th, I thought that was really, really impressive. And actually, I would not be damn surprised if he wins next year.
Yeah, of course, I follow Danny. I want to follow his path and his steps. Actually, we are having an interview on Friday together. So don't miss it, guys. It will be very fun. And talked to him after that race, and he told, well, what people were saying is that Danny was so good in Bristol in
Yeah.
dirt. Even if we don't have dirt tracks in Mexico, or we have only in a few states and we don't really race in them, is
Right.
that since in Mexico we don't have grip at all in the trucks, like it was easier to change from the asphalt to the dirt because of
Dirt.
that experience that he had already in the tracks in Mexico. And yeah, definitely I feel like I was watching that race like this. I remember I was like, "Oh, he's going to win it, he's going to win
Yeah.
it." But of course,
Right.
the top five in the Cup Series is something big.
So what was your what's your thoughts on Pitbull being the co-owner of Trackhouse?
I think that it's super cool that he's supporting him. Um, of course, I remember that people in one interview said that he knew who Danny Suarez was since he was young.
Yeah.
So now that he has a team, I feel like it is an opportunity also for other, like maybe when Danny moves and I start going through steps like trucks, Xfinity, and if one day hopefully we make it to the Cup Series, we can be part of that team. So I feel like it's super cool.
All right. So now I'm going to give you guys this question. So next year's lineup for Trackhouse, we have Ross Chastain, who's going to be running the 1 car, and we have Daniel Suarez in the 99. So of those 2 guys in the lineup for next year, who wins first and why?
Ross Chastain is an amazing driver, but I guess you'd have to give it kind of go towards Daniel Suarez just because he's already been with the team. Already he's had a year under your belt in a Cup Series with that team that does a lot. So I think just being him and his crew chief probably have an amazing bond together, and Ross Chastain is going to be coming in something new, and he doesn't know no guys over there, doesn't have a bond with his crew chief yet, and it takes time to build a bond like that to win a race. So I guess you have to give it to Dan Suarez because he's
Lavar. You got to think about that a little bit now. You're saying Ross is going to something new, but don't forget Trackhouse just bought out Chip Ganassi Racing, which will be running out of the same building, which may have the same mechanics. So who's going where?
That's smart. That is definitely a smart way to look at it. I didn't think about that.
See, in a jump back on Cap, with Starcom shutting down and Chip Ganassi being sold, will we see Cap Houston with Trackhouse Racing next year for a Melon Man?
Well, you will see Cap Houston at the track in NASCAR. Where, we don't know.
Yeah.
We never know.
That's a good
So you
answer.
gotta understand, on the pit crew side, we're like independent contractors, and at the end of every season, depending on your contract and how you write them out, sometimes you do 1 year, sometimes it's 2 years, and you want to, you kind of get attached to the teams. I've been with Ganassi. This is seven years. This time, this will actually be my 3rd time. I started at Ganassi. Then I came back, was on the 42 with Juan Pablo Montoya for partial season. Then I went to Furniture Row with Kurt Busch, and then I came back and have been there since then. The thing about it, and a lot of us, you think about the teams that shut down. You got Michael Waltrip Racing, you got Red Bull. A lot of guys over there has been through those shutdowns. I was with Furniture Row Racing, who's no longer there. So this is nothing new, on pit crew side. It just depends on how we work and how we practice, and how pit crew coaches places on the teams that they think is going to be the best to compete for each weekend. So I can't say I don't know what team I'm going to be on, but I would love to, I'd love to pit for either one of those guys. And hopefully if things work out, maybe you'll see me in the pits on one of the 99.
So you mentioned you pitted for Juan Pablo Montoya. I was actually at that 2015 Indy 500 when he came from 33rd to 1st.
See what I'm saying, man? You see what I'm saying?
Montoya was saying from last to first.
Oh, yeah. Come on, who can't love something like that, man? Who can't?
Right.
Hey, Regina. Earlier we were talking about how where you brought up about how every team could have equal opportunities at sponsorships, right? Um, who do you think? All right, okay. Who would you consider to be the biggest endorser to NASCAR?
The biggest sponsor?
Yes, ma'am.
I feel like, oh, that's a tough question. I feel
Okay, let me.
so, well, of course, other than like Toyota, Chevrolet, and Ford, I feel like Coca-Cola Racing has a lot of sponsorships. They even have like their Coca-Cola Racing team in their social media, and they do a lot of stuff like with Danny Suarez, with a ton of drivers. So I feel like um, they 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 sponsor a lot of drivers, and also like a few years ago it used to be Monster Cup Series, and
Yes.
Monster is from Coke, so from Coca-Cola. So I feel like a good sponsorship would be to have a Coca-Cola sponsorship.
Okay. The reason why I asked you that was this right here. This is for both you and Lavar. All right. What if like Coke is like, you know what? Let's give someone who no one would think a piece of this pie. In the next, like, say tomorrow, you guys wake up and all of a sudden you get an email like, "Hey, yo, Coke just picked us up as a sponsor." You know what I mean? Like, would that start the snowball effect that you were talking about, where everyone would get an equal opportunity at the big sponsors?
I would totally do it. I would be like, I will go. I will put my clothes and go with. Well, we in ref racing we have a girl that helps us with all the emails and all that stuff. So I will totally go and start working on an email and a presentation and telling them why should they pick me to be part of their team.
Hell yeah. Lavar?
I tell you what, this is a fun show. I'm having so much fun right now.
Oh yeah.
Now,
Welcome
see,
to
the
the
thing
team,
with
Corey.
Thank you.
Regina, I was saying, like, do you think that would start the snowball effect? Whereas Coke would do, other big sponsors would follow the same suit, give other teams that not normally would have the chance to be sponsored by them, give they would have been given the opportunity. That's what I'm saying. Would that open doors for other people? That's what I'm saying. Do you think if that were to happen to you guys, would that affect take off like that?
I think if it's
I know.
if it's successful, yes. Like if
Oh, okay.
Coca-Cola would email me and say, "Hey, I want you to come here, be part of this team. We're gonna sponsor, backing you, and I'm actually successful and win races and show that there's a lot of talent in the grassroots racing." I feel as though they could
Yes.
start doing it to a lot more.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
It's still a bit hard. It's still. I see what you're saying too, Tor. You got to understand. It's still, there's never going to be an even playing field because at the end of the day, is if you give everybody even equipment, you still got driver against driver. And I don't think, just like me and with pit guns, like we got all the pit guns. There's no pit gun the same, but they're all operational, and some of them going to feel different to other tire changes. So with cars. Lavar made like a loose car. Regina made like a car a little tighter. So it's all about that combination with the crew chief, the crews. Some teams have the equipment, they have the budget, and the combination, the crews just can't get that feel for the for the driver to be comfortable. And a comfortable driver is going to be a fast driver. You got to look at it when you look at the grid. Each race, for the most part, there is a field of 30. For the most part, there's only a half a second difference in lap times between each car. And that's just like you was amazed about the 0.9 off and on patterns. But think about Lavar and Regina out there on the track. When they're turning laps, from first to 20th, is going to be a slight difference, especially qualifying like within a half second. So that's minimal, out there on it. That's one move too early, backing up your corner, going into a turn or whatnot, or going in too hard on the brake. So that level of competition is always going to be there. And I think when NASCAR, what they as long as they try to keep the like Bristol Racing last week, like that Xfinity race, wow, that was crazy. It was a great finish. But I think it'll be hard to things to be even, throughout. There's always going to be the challenge of competitiveness in it, regardless who the sponsor is, right?
I got you. I know exactly what you mean. It's like you saying, excuse me. It's like you saying you give a person a $20 million machine, but if they don't know how to use it, it's gonna work like crap.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And at the same time, you can see because like I'll use Ross Chastain for an example. Whenever he was coming in, he was driving the 4 car over there at Carl Long, and that equipment is not the best. It's low budget. They try to keep things together and reuse a lot of parts. But he made the playoffs in that car. So
that was Xfinity, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was Xfinity. Yeah. He was busting he had the melons at every track with that thing. What I mean, and had some good finishes. Then he would jump in some of the Ganassi Xfinity cars and got a couple wins there. So it's I think it's about how your perspective and how you look at your situation and what you can do with it.
Okay.
See, I love this, man. All the questions I've always wanted to ask, didn't have anyone to ask them to. This is the platform where I can ask the questions and get real answers because you guys are in it.
Yeah.
Okay.
You see, and like I had mentioned, that like diversity in racing means a whole lot to me, and Tori, you can understand why.
Oh yeah, trust me.
And there's one person that I'm sure Cap knows her. There's one person I'm trying to get on the show. Her name is Brianna Daniels, the very first African American pit crew member in NASCAR. I have been in contact with her. John actually works with her, and they actually talk back and forth. And there's a possibility she will be on the show before season's end, because right now she's doing stuff for Nike, college and stuff like that. So she's out there making it big. One day we will see Lavar out there making it big top, Regina out there making it big top. Maybe one day we'll see these guys, racing neck and neck at like Daytona or Indianapolis or whatever type of racing they choose to race on. Now, are there other sport entrances other than NASCAR that you guys are interested in running maybe someday in your career?
Definitely the USAC midgets. I think about a few years ago, USAC midgets that was my dream. Like that was just the travel the country racing on dirt at the top tracks against the top competitors in dirt. That was always my dream. But then when Rev Racing came about, that's when my dream kind of shifted towards, hey, NASCAR Cup Series is the way to go for me. So I think if I make the Cup Series, I definitely would like to own my whole dream. Since I was young, it's been just to own a team and let my brother race for my team. So that's what I'm pushing for right now.
Okay, and if you do end up doing that, what would you name the team, and what would the manufacturer be, and what would the car number be?
Well, the fast, like the top engines and the USAC midgets or Toyotas, they're called the SR11s. So you kind of have to be Toyotas with Keith Coons or Chad Boat. Everybody has the Toyotas, the bullet chassis. But I don't know the name, LSR or something. I'll probably let my brother name the team just because I'll let him run the team, but something like that.
Okay.
If it was not NASCAR, I would like to try to test IndyCar and also a Porsche car in Argentina. They have their championship. I think that's super cool. It's road course, but I feel like it will be a cool experience to drive it.
Regina, you are actually my second female driver to be on Motorsports Race Talk. The first was sports car driver Samantha Tan. So I appreciate it. She was also she was actually the first driver ever interviewed on Motorsports Race Talk. She's Asian Canadian, and she was awesome to be on. Maybe sometime she's supposed to come back, try and come back on November. Maybe I'd like to have both of you on at the same time, and you guys can talk back and forth as about how things are going. We got just a few more minutes left, and before we sign off, is there any questions that Corey or Tori have for Regina, Lavar, and Kat before we sign off?
Let's see here. It's hard, bro. It's hard narrowing so many questions down. That's why it takes me a minute.
Yeah.
All right. I guess I can say this right here. Well, excuse me. I can ask this. Lavar and Regina. Yeah, I never asked you guys this. What was it like to hoist those trophies that Jordan showed the pictures of you guys winning those races? What was that feeling?
The feeling of you always want to lose a lot more races than you win, unless you're Kyle Larson, of course. But so the feeling of winning, finally get one, because the race in Mexico when I won, I haven't won a race in like a year and a half since then. So the feeling of winning, like you work so hard every single week to go to the track, and you might win. You might be the one out of the 20 that wins. So to finally get it done, it's honestly the absolute best feeling in the world. There's no feeling that compares to it for me. So that's why I think a lot of the drivers just keep pushing to try to get a win.
I feel like the feeling is like a motivation feeling, because you feel like, oh, I was able to do it, so now I want to do it again. And also, like, I felt very thankful with all my sponsorships, with all my sponsors, with all my crew, with my spotter, with my family. I mean, I wanted to hug everyone in that same moment. Like, I remember as soon as I jump out of the car, I hug my spotter, I hug my dad, my aunt, like everyone that was there. I was just very thankful with everyone, because I feel like even if like you are driving by yourself, it is a teamwork. Like, a lot of people say that racing is not a teamwork, but I feel like it is, because I would not be able to be there without my engineer, my guys, with anyone.
Okay. All right, Cap. My question for you is, I haven't heard you talk about this since we've been on here.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have trying to figure out the right word? Do you have is one of your goals to be a crew chief?
No, I don't. I actually don't. My goals more or less is more to change tires as long as I can, but inspire and to help just show the inner workings of NASCAR, to be kind of free, to be kind of like the guide. Say say Lavar gets his race team, I put my application put in like, you're gonna need somebody at the track to work with the sponsors and take them up and down pit road, to give them the tour, to talk to them about tires. They like a lot of people like to ask questions, have a pocket full of lug nuts to hand to kids and whatnot, different things like that. So I think that's more me than being the crew chief and the racing side of it.
Okay.
All right. Well, it's been a fun show. Regina, Lavar, and Cap, thank you so much for being a part of Motorsports Race Talk.
Thank you.
Corey, Tori, that rhyme. I actually have a major announcement to make. Corey runs another podcast with a guy named Chris Burns called the Speedway Review, and I have been asked to be the producer for the Speedway Review. We are going to. I have a special relaunch coming up. I will still be doing Motorsports Race Talk on Tuesdays. Okay. So I have logo ideas. I have content coming on, and Regina and Lavar and Cap. If any of you guys ever want to be a part of the Speedway Review, just let us know, and we'll be glad to have you on the show to represent sport of NASCAR and being a Mexican driver, African Americans in the sport of NASCAR.
Thank you very much,
Jordan. Thank you, Corey. Thank you, Cap, Tori, Lavar.
Thank you.
It was very fun to talk with you guys, and I hope you have a good day. And of course, Jordan, I hope to talk to you again soon.
All right. You guys have a good night.
Thank you guys for all the info.
Thank you.
All right, so that's I said that was a fun show, guys.
Man, fun ain't the word for it, bro.
And that was
Yo,
awesome.
Corey, you was on your thing, brother. You was on your thing.
Thank you. I mean,
Hell
when
yeah.
Jordan was out for like about a minute, I thought to myself, leave me hanging. But no, I mean, I thought I did pretty good, and I haven't been on any like podcasting for a while. This is kind of like my first time back, and kind of a new way and so forth. But I was gonna say this: you guys talk about Days of Thunder and Talladega Nights. Look what I got in my background right here.
Rowdy Burns.
I see.
Honestly, I take Rowdy anytime, any day, man. Over Cole Trickle. That's pretty much my guy. You know, and actually it's kind of funny because Rowdy was actually kind of like Dale Earnhardt almost. Like in the movie.
He was.
Character-wise.
I think that was the whole idea. I think, and then
yeah.
Cole Trickle was like.
Can I
Gordon
do show you guys like one little thing I have? My
Absolutely.
Sure,
if
brother.
you guys can hear me, so I got this one little gift that I got on eBay a couple years ago. I'm just gonna pull it out like probably real quick. I know we're at like the top of the hour and so forth. But so what I got here, guys, this is actually, but it's not really a replica, but it's a customized design Rowdy Burns Exxon helmet. And this thing pretty much cost me about $200, but hey, this is probably my favorite gift that I have of all. And like I said, Rowdy's pretty much my favorite guy in the movie, and I'll get anything Rowdy anytime, any day. So not only I have the helmet, but another little jig. I also have the diecast car that comes with it too. This one was awesome. This was around like $150, but the diecast car and the helmet, these are pretty much my favorite.
You're gonna need glass cases, bro.
Oh yeah, this is going in a replica display. So
thank you for sharing that, Corey. And also, I just want to say, welcome to Motorsports Race Talk.
Thank you. I'm very proud to be here, and like I said, I'm gonna be here like on every other week basis because
that's fine.
I know my work schedule gets a little bit busy, like every other Tuesday, but you'll see me like every other Tuesday. But yeah, but Jordan, I want to say thank you for bringing me on the show. I had fun tonight, and even if I was hosting for a little bit, which I didn't want to like steal the show, but it was pretty cool, seeing Bill Lester and all those guys.
Oh yeah.
I have to admit, like Bill was the only one that I knew, but the other ones I had to do a little researching. So, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. And I had fun.
Yeah. So like I said, Corey, my other guy, he was on the road to Vegas. So Tori and Corey, thank you so much for joining me tonight.
No problem.
Until next time, this is Motorsports Race Talk, signing off.
See you guys.
Peace out.
See you, Corey.
All right, Jordan.